What's up, everybody? Okay, I'm back. I'm still in Paris. Today is my last day. I am sitting in the beautiful courtyard of my apartment. Would recommend highly. Now, today we're going to be talking about a shoe that everybody's already talked about, so I want to talk about it in a slightly different way. When thinking about the Puma DEVIATE Nitro 3 Elite, and then also thinking about the Puma DEVIATE Nitro 3, I've come to the conclusion that most of the brands started out with a race day quality shoe. And the need for the public to try these shoes, the need for the running community to get their hands on and get their feet in these shoes became so high a demand that they watered down some things, but that top end always stayed what it was. It's super interesting to me, and it happened on the last couple of shoes, where a shoe that had a different iteration before, the name may have stayed, but instead of creating something new, they created something under it and then borrowed the name downward. For instance, the Puma DEVIATE Nitro 3 Elite, while I've seen a ton of reviews on it, and that's why this isn't going to be a straightforward review like most, I've seen a ton of reviews about this shoe, and the thing that I felt when I put it on was that this was the feeling I first got when I put on my very first pair of Puma DEVIATE Nitro. The Nitro 1 was amazing. The stiffness, but the ride, the way that the foam not only helped you perform, but it protected you from the plate. Because plates can be harsh. Plated shoes are harsh, we know that. That's why most of them are called race day. But this one gave me that same vibe. Now, of course, they upgraded the foam. And of course, the features. But then when you look at this shoe compared to the DEVIATE Nitro 1, and then you look at the DEVIATE Nitro 3 non-elite version, there's very little DNA going toward that shoe. The DEVIATE Nitro 1 was the race day shoe. The DEVIATE Nitro 2 and 3 became more stiff training components. But that feeling of the first one stayed here. So the story is funny. I find the Puma store by complete accident down at Chatelet. I'm walking around, I'm looking for the train stop so that I can get on the train. I make a turn, I decide, I want to go see Centre de Pompidou. I'll double back to Chatelet. I turn, there's the Puma store. I'm like, oh man, I've been looking for this. I've been waiting for this. Let me go see if they got it. They have the Fast R, which I wanted to buy. And then they had this. I wanted to try both. They only had the Fast R, the Nitro Fast R2 in women's. They also had the marathon version of the DEVIATE Nitro. I'm like, oof, that's a good looking shoe, but I've already got a pair of the Nitros. You will have seen that video by the time I get back, as I customized a pair of Nitros. And I'm like, let me try the Nitro 3 Elite. There is such gatekeeping with running shoes these days. The clerk who was about to go get the shoe stopped, turned to me and goes, are you competing, monsieur? I don't care if I'm competing or not. Please go get the shoe I asked you to go get. He was literally gatekeeping the shoe from me. So I had to lie and say, yeah, I'm competing. No, this is gonna be a workout shoe. I wore it casually around Paris and had no problems with my feet. As a matter of fact, they felt just as plush and comfortable as my Adidas Ultra Boost 5X. So what's the problem? Like, please go get me the shoe. That took me back. And that's what when I put the shoe on, he had me scared. He had, oh no, and all the reviews, same thing. Race day, race day, race day, race day, race day. Look, wear what works for you. Wear what's comfortable. And if you really know what's going into these shoes, you'll realize that the shoe that they now say was their first race day shoe, the Puma DEVIATE NITRO 1, is now somehow their everyday shoe. So there became a fork in the road that allowed the naming convention to now dictate what you wear. That doesn't make any sense to me. This shoe is fantastic. I actually prefer this shoe. The elite version feels like the one to me. So also that's where, as a reviewer, I want to be very careful and never try to sway what someone thinks. I just try to say what I felt from the shoe, because everyone's foot is different. I heard that this was unstable. I heard that you got a little rock. No, none of it happened for me. Again, I'm different than most runners. I'm very tall. I'm heavier than most marathon or 5K or 10K runners. I compress this foam, and I need more protection from the plate that's in it, although I like the stiffness, than the ground. I don't really need protection from the ground. I need protection from the plate oftentimes, because the ground doesn't hurt my foot as much as the plate sometimes does in plated shoes. So that's just the majority of this review. Is just, it was super, super interesting that the feeling I got from this shoe was so much like what made me love the DEVIATE 1 that I was a little bit confused. Reviews had me scared. So all of that to say, wear what you want to wear what works best for you, and don't let anyone gatekeep the shoes. Let's get into a quick review of all the features. Upper, midsole, outsole. The upper's fantastic. The weave is really, really cool. It's a traditional mesh, but a very, very light weave. There's a little bit of power tape built in, you know, the Puma reinforcement, but I'm not able to see where it's at. I think it's woven in. I know there's a little power tape on the back there. Somewhat of a traditional heel counter, and then this foam piece here juts up. It looks like it's hard. It is not. So that foam piece juts up to support the actual heel counter, because you're sticking out just a little bit away from the foam. Lacing is great. It is not a gusseted tongue, which I wish they would have done. They don't lose anything by doing that. But what they did do that's super interesting on the tongue is they did this sort of double keeper. Normally you see a keeper right in the middle. They put a keeper on either side. That seems to work. Tongue stayed in place, didn't move. It was good. It was good. Midsole foam, that Nitro Elite foam is crazy plush. Crazy plush. It is a super high stack, but oftentimes what people don't talk about with the stack is, even though you're up there, you're starting up there, and the drop is, you know, 6 mil, 8 mil, you know, whatever the drops are, you're actually sinking in and then hitting the plate and rolling forward. So the true stack height, unless the foam is so stiff that it does not compress, or unless you're a very, very light runner who cannot compress foam, then a lot of times you find yourself sinking and rolling anyway. So I don't pay a ton of attention to stack height, especially as a heavier runner, because I'm making this foam work. Outsole, Puma grip is sticky. Like, that part is never exaggerated. I don't know what's in this stuff, but I wore these on a super rainy day around Paris. Feet got soaked. Also, the mesh helped him drain really well. But this stuff was sticking as I'm going up and down the wet stairs of metro stations, afraid to slip like I saw a lot of people do, or on this ancient concrete that's super, super old, that it's just bald, flat, smooth, sticky. Grip is super sticky, and it's great. The black that you see used to be a cat. They have that on the actual rubber. It's just painted on, but it comes off really quickly. I'm glad it did that, because that part had me a little worried. That painted outsole, it was a little bit slick, but it came off immediately. So that's just for presentation show when you first get the shoe. The laces are the same as the DEVIATE NITRO, so they're a little spongy, which I was surprised about. When you go to pull on them, they give back a little bit. I didn't have a problem with the fit. Some people might. Standard insole is glued down that you see with most race day shoes. They're gonna stick that insole down. If you wanna put a different insole in, you'll have to carefully tear that out. But other than that, forever faster. It's good stuff. Yeah, that's my take on the DEVIATE NITRO Elite. Again, my take. It was giving me DEVIATE NITRO 1 vibes, not even DEVIATE NITRO Elite 1 vibes, just DEVIATE NITRO vibes. Actually, they separated really big at the 2. The 2 Elite and the 2 regular did take different paths, and that Elite stayed more like the 1. So the DEVIATE NITRO 1 was gravy. Loved it. You know, the meshes, the Elite foam, slight difference. There's little differences, but really I think it's mostly in naming convention. But rock what you want to rock, wear what you want to wear what works for you. I'm recording. Hopefully reviewers see themselves more as help versus telling you what to do, because we are different than you. You are different than the next person. Just my take. Thanks for coming back through. I'm on a flight back home tomorrow. We'll get all these uploaded soon. And I appreciate you rocking with me and taking these trips with me. All right, peace.